Sup? Back with more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's hit this cross-examination.
I had a guest waiting for me when I returned to my cabin after finishing my evening meal in the dining room.
Hold it!
Okay, tell us about that. Because the so-called guard posted at your cabin door had just let your killer pass, you mean?
Apparently, Gregson told the crewman he was a police inspector, which was the truth, of course.
He wouldn't have had his identification with him, though.
He had his trench coat and mustache, not to mention the bag of chips. I imagine the crewman was convinced.
But the man accompanying him would have had two swords slung around his waist. I think that should be swords, rather than two sword. Whatever.
Ah, you mean me.
Who else?
Yes, that's true. You would have hoped the sight of a few swords might have set off alarm bells in the guard's head.
The point is, I left the cabin before its occupant returned, and I immediately disembarked the ship.
Certainly, all I can tell you is that only the inspector was waiting for me when I arrived back at my cabin.
And you entered without any inkling of suspicion.
That's right, none whatsoever.
When I walked through the door, a mustachioed Englishman was there, foolishly waving a gun at me.
Hold it!
Obviously, you're talking about Inspector Gregson.
Yes, though at the time I didn't know the man's name. And there was no time for introductions. I value my life over manners.
By which you mean that the inspector was there to assassinate you, I suppose.
That was certainly the impression given by the gun point in my direction. But I've never seen the muzzle of a revolver shake about so much in my life. Anyone would think the man had never shot somebody before.
Believe it or not, most of us haven't.
Anyway, there was no time to call for the help of the crewman at the door, so I dealt with the man myself.
Okay. Alright, this is when he yeeted the dude, like he did at the end of Case 2-1. Even though the man had a gun, that was a very brave move, wasn't it?
My Ippon Seo is far faster than a bullet, I can assure you.
But surely all that commotion caused the crewman to come in, didn't it?
Yes, of course. He burst in immediately without knocking. The inspector hurled himself at the stocky fellow and just managed to slip past him to make his escape.
The outstanding guard does it again.
Luckily, there aren't many situations I can't get out of by using a quick Ippon Seo throw. Seoi.
Yeah, it should be Seoi. What am I talking about?
I imagine his watch was broken when I threw him over my shoulder.
Hold it!
The crown snapped off and the glass covering the face of the watch was cracked.
Preferable to the man's head being pulled off or his spine cracking, wouldn't you say?
Not that the man was spared for long, a bullet to the chest soon saw to that. But the point is, the broken pocket watch doesn't prove that a murder took place.
Absolutely not. All the watch proves is the power of my jujutsu throw.
Whatever you say, it doesn't quite ring true that no shot was fired in the cabin. Because there was an obvious bullet hole in the wall.
What are you talking about? I was getting a drink of water. That's what the star of your lowbrow detective stories told you, is it? Well, I don't care for such fiction. Haven't you worked it out yet, you little stripling? No murder took place in my cabin.
I'm calling bull to the shit, bro.
Hold it!
Somehow I doubt you. But there's no evidence that proves the victim ever returned to London alive.
Just take a moment to think that idea of yours through now, stripling.
What? Or is it stripling?
If the inspector was killed on a steamship to France, How on earth could he have got back to Britain? When people die, they're killed. I mean, their bodies are made at that same spot. It's a devil of a thing.
Well, then, obviously the culprit must have been moved. The culprit must have moved the body.
How exactly?
Carrying a corpse off a ship in your arms would raise a few eyebrows at least, don't you think? Well, yes, that's true, but, I mean, I think they'd hide it, maybe.
All passenger luggage is inspected when it is unloaded from arriving vessels.
And I would like to think the border police would query the corpse of an English gentleman as hand luggage. If the murder had taken place aboard the ship, you would imagine the body would have been disposed of at sea. There would be no sense in risking being caught by attempting to transport the body back to Britain. Ugh. That's killed that idea, then.
But perhaps not.
Mrs. Sato?
We've heard that the first-class passengers were under constant scrutiny by the crewmen posted to guard them. Which would mean that the culprit had no opportunity to dispose of the body in the sea.
Yes, that's true. So transporting the body to Britain may have been the only viable alternative.
Dear me, you really are new to this, aren't you?
I mean, I've been doing this for like, what, 6 months? I think I'm not that bad. Well, more than 6 months. But, you know.
I thought I'd been perfectly clear, but it seems I'm going to have to explain it in words you can understand. I thought I ought to alter my testimony, with your consent, of course, my lord.
I have no objection. State your amended testimony now. Man, Jyoku's voice does a few things to me.
There's no possible way I could have transported the victim's corpse back to Britain.
You sure about that?
Hold it!
There's an idea.
Think about it, Stripling. All passengers and crew disembarked at the same time and passed through the same checks at the border. The symposium guests were then driven straight to the hotel in carriages organized by the ministry.
And we met you as soon as you arrived at the hotel.
So you did. Well then, remind me, did I have a corpse over my shoulder at the time?
What? No.
So we're in agreement then. I couldn't possibly have brought the inspector's body back to Britain.
Hold a fucking second here. Second page. Nope, not second page. Third page. Oh, bitch, you couldn't have, huh? Look at his dumbass face. Look at his dumb mouth. Look at his dumb eyes. Look at his dumb hat. Look at his dumb 6-hole badges he has on the front of his outfit. You see this? Yes. You see this, you little bitch? This is what we call a contradiction. Read it.
Unless, of course, they've developed some clever device these days to instantly move things from A to B.
Funny you should say that.
Professor Hairbrain's invention didn't actually work, if you remember, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, of course.
The defense has become unusually quiet, I notice. Yes, because there's really nothing more to say.
So that's his story.
Well, I suppose if you think about it, whenever you drop a teacup in the office and it breaks, we don't say, Mr. Naruhodo must have been murdered there, do we?
Is that a veiled threat about what might happen to me if I break another one?
And the fact is that Inspector Gregson's body was found in that little room on Fresno Street. If he really was killed in Judge Jigoku's cabin,
the body would have to have been moved somehow, obviously. Transporting a dead body over a country border, that would be impossible for the majority of people. So there must have been special circumstances that made it possible for the culprit, then.
That could be a vital realization, I think, Mr. Naruto.
Okay. Well, it's gotta be the last one, since he changed it. And... ba-boom. There's no possible way you could have moved Inspector Grigson's body, you say. I would say the opposite is true.
And what's that supposed to mean?
What do you think it means? I'm saying you're suspicious as hell. Far from being impossible for you to do. The transporting of Inspector Grigson's body back to Britain is something only you could do.
What are you talking about, Ryunosuke?
As well as being a judge, Mr. Jigoku is also Japan's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Which means he's exempt from having his luggage searched when he enters the country. We learnt that when we first met you upon your arrival in London. Well, all those passport checks and luggage searches at the border took rather a lot of time. I must say I'm very envious of your ministerial status. You didn't have to go through any of that, did you?
Oh, I knew you were jealous.
He had frickin' Gregson's corpse in that chest. I always thought that thing looked suspicious, especially because, you know, it actually took like... I mean, it stands out like a sore thumb, for one. I presume you recall this, Judge Shikoku. It's a photograph we took in the foyer of the hotel to mark the occasion. As the court will note, you have with you your large travel trunk. Large enough, in fact, to have a corpse inside.
Mr. Naruto, surely you're not suggesting...
I'm afraid I am, yes. 3 days ago, when we were chatting innocently with the new arrivals from Japan in the hotel, the body of Inspector Grigson was just meters away from us, inside Judge Jigoku's trunk. Damn.
Order in court. I'm skeptical, counsel, that a grown man's body could fit inside even the largest travel trunk.
It could. Because I happen to know that the witness himself, a man of considerable size, fits inside his trunk. And verifying that would be extremely simple, wouldn't it, Judge Jigoku?
But inside his trunk... How horrifying.
And after we'd spoken with you at the Great Waterloo Hotel, you had the opportunity to visit the apparent scene on Fresno Street. Taking your trunk with you in a cab to deposit the inspector's body.
I don't have to listen to this nonsense.
Oh good, because you're not listening to nonsense. Because it's the truth. Dr. Gorey, the coroner who examined the body, has confirmed the possibility. She has acknowledged there are signs that steps may have been taken to disguise the true time of death. The onset of the body's decomposition could have been delayed by storing it in a refrigerator.
Counsel, as I remember explaining yesterday, refrigerators of the requisite size are few and far between.
Yes, I'm sure they are. But one place they're certainly found is on large ocean liners. Such ships are equipped with electrically refrigerated cold rooms to keep fresh food on their long sea voyages. And the SS Grouse is no exception. Professor Mikatoba told me about it only yesterday. Well, Judge Jigoku? Ooh, bitch, you in trouble now. However much you prolong this debate, you can't eliminate the truth. All the evidence points to you being the killer. Bitch.
Well, this is all very heartening. I can see that it was a wise move, letting Asogi and you embark on this study tour.
What are you talking about now? Logical reasoning, of course. All court proceedings will be built on logical reasoning in the new century. And I can see that you've both laid firm foundations on that already.
Judge Shikoku, please stop diverting attention from the issue at hand. You know, it's kind of what this whole series is, if I'm being honest, Miss Usato. The defense has made an accusation against you. How do you respond?
Respond? There's really no need for me to respond, is there?
Why ever not?
Because before you can even begin to answer the question of when the victim was killed, you must first establish one key fact.
Proof and evidence.
Where was the victim killed? It's quite logical.
The actual scene of the crime.
The prosecution's stance is unaltered. The killing took place on Fresno Street when the gunshot was heard. As the accused Barrick von Zeke shot the victim at point-blank range.
Yeah, you can think that all you want. You're still wrong, though.
Since no tangible evidence exists to disprove the prosecution's claim at this time, the defense's deductions amount to little more than an elaborate fairy tale, otherwise known as they amount to more than jack and shit. I'm afraid that's how the logical reasoning the British are known for really works, young stripling.
The victim was shot in that little room on Fresno Street and died instantly. I'm afraid it's the prosecution's claim that's the only fairy tale here.
How can you say that?
Quite simply, because that claim directly contradicts a certain piece of evidence in our possession.
Ooh. Very tantalizing, counsel. I think you would better explain yourself to the court, don't you?
The prosecution claims that Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene on Fresno Street. But this evidence clearly contradicts that claim. Time to save, because I don't trust myself.
Gosh. Gosh, I sure am terrible at puzzle games.
My head is empty. What do I do? What do we got? 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 Oh wait, no, this is Clint. Okay. Where's the autopsy report? Wouldn't it just be the pocket watch, still?
Take that!
The Japanese really are a curious breed. To proffer an argument with such conviction only to present such nonsensical evidence.
Perhaps my Japanese friend's inexplicable thinking is why people talk about the mystique of the East. In case you hadn't noticed, I'm not the only Japanese around here. Do you even have a mirror?
The court is not interested in the mystique of anything. You will be penalized accordingly.
Was the victim killed in the room on Fresno Street, or was he moved there after his death? There's one piece of evidence we have that shows the answer to that question surprisingly clearly. Perhaps you should try to present the correct one this time then, Mr. Naruhodo.
I'm trying. Are you gonna try again, or can't you hold your hand steady enough to point it out?
The prosecution claims Inspector Gregson died instantly when he was shot at the scene. Okay. Died instantly when shot at the scene. Oh, is it maybe because the blood is... Who knows? Maybe because the blood is dried on this?
Take that!
Nope. Okay. Skipping ahead till I find this shit. Sorry. Sorry. Whoa. Da 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 da. Oh. I guess I found it. I was having such bad luck that I just started going through every single thing I found. And I guess this is the right one. I have no idea as to why. It's a classic Ace Attorney strategy. When you don't know the right piece of evidence to present, just to make a save and keep presenting stuff and reloading. Anyways.
A photograph of the victim in the very location you claim he wasn't killed.
Yes, but the point is the posture of the body itself. What? If Inspector Gregson had been shot there in that room, it's out of the question that his body would have been curled up in a ball like that. Why is it out of the question?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, but your logic is flawed.
Man, I love when they do this with this theme. They always have, like, just the percussion and stuff. Like, the percussion and, like, the cello, or whatever you call it, or the bass. And then they come in with the violins and the bells when it gets to this version.
You could easily have adopted the Fueto position out due to the pain of the shot, which subsequently proved fatal.
Objection!
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Judge Jigoku, but it's your logic that is flawed.
What?
According to this autopsy report, the victim died instantly. He would have felt no pain, much less have been able to draw himself into that position. Ugh. Which begs the question of why the victim's body is curled up in that way. So the answer should be abundantly clear by now.
You're suggesting...
The inspector's body took on that posture ahead of its arrival on Fresno Street. Before it was coldly turned out on the floor. From the inside of a large travel trunk. No! You're quite right! The shape of the body! It looks exactly as if it had been kept in a confined space! Oh, shit. Judge Jigoku, present your trunk for examination. I believe it's very possible that it will contain traces of the victim's blood. Ugh. Nice music sync there.
Present my trunk. I refuse.
What? On what grounds? Based on what? Ooh, what you got?
I'm the Minister of Foreign Affairs from the Empire of Japan. I shouldn't have to put up with this treatment just because of some stripling's baseless accusations.
Oh. My accusations are based. In other words, Judge Jigoku, there is blood in your trunk.
I decline to answer that. As the Minister of Foreign Affairs, I have privileges to allow me to...
At this moment, you're not a government minister. You are a witness in a trial in Britain's highest court. I don't care who you are, or what your status outside this courtroom might be. You will not withhold information. Nothing is more important than the truth. What a legend Ryunosuke is. Ugh. Ugh. How based can one man be?
Order! Order in the court! Well, Mr. Jigoku, what's it to be?
Ugh. You can't be serious. You did it.
Have you no shame at all, Kazuma Sogi?
What?
Very well, I admit it. I did bring the inspector's body into the country. Inside my trunk, exactly as postulated by the defense.
Is he gonna try to throw the blame on Kazuma for killing him? And saying that he didn't do the deed himself?
What? You... Dear God. Outrageous.
So it was you!
No, I admit to nothing more than what I've said. Of killing the man, I certainly have no recollection.
What on earth is that cryptic statement supposed to mean?
I merely disposed of the inspector's body, which was left in my cabin, in order to avoid unwanted attention. As the judicial assistant over there pointed out, I had no chance to throw it into the ocean. So, I decided my only option was to bring it into Britain with me and dispose of it somewhere else.
You can't still deny it. If you didn't do it, then who on earth did kill the man? That is a bitch-ass, cowardly way of thinking, buddy.
As you know, there was one other person in my cabin that night. He had the opportunity. And moreover, he'd already accepted a mission to take the inspector's life.
Oh!
That's right, who else could it have been? It was you, Kazuma Sogi. You.
Man. The last cases of these games really do like to have traitors.
I never thought you'd stoop to this, Seishiro Jigoku. You've taken the words straight out of my mouth, Prosecutor Kazuma Sogi. You thought by leaving the body in my cabin you could pin the crime on me, did you?
Well, the prosecution counsel has already admitted to visiting the witness's cabin on the night in question.
Yes, on an assassination mission, no less. You wouldn't. So, what do you make of that, young stripling? You've heard my testimony now, and that's all I have to say on the matter. I'll admit to nothing more.
I don't believe this. This man is a little bitch. Man, I take back anything positive I've ever said about this dude. What a frickin' loser.
Counsel for the defense. What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Sogi. This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer is right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku, or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well, the defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Sogi is... I mean, we can shit. Listen. Huh. I'm not sure here. I mean, I'm pretty damn sure that Jigoku's the one that killed him. Because, you know, we have Kadama. We have the fact that, you know, Kazuma took a slash at this trunk at some point. Probably trying to kill Gregson, but he failed and retreated. I'm gonna say impossible. I don't care if I take a hit here, so I'm gonna not save. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claimed that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process.
It is, no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. Oh, you know I chose right because the music's playing. Hell yeah.
What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
Okay. This is something we gotta think about carefully. It's not the red-headed league. I'm 100% sure it's not this. It's not this. Letter of introduction? No, it's not gonna be that. Harsh reprimand. I think anything involving Vigil we can put on the back burner. It's not gonna be the red hair piece. It's not gonna be the policeman figurine. It could be the revolver. Revolver I'll keep on the back burner. It's not gonna be the candelabra. Not gonna be that. It's not gonna be this. Autopsy report. Kelp. Could be this, because it mentions the gun. Well, no, it's members of the judiciary, which would include Kazuma. The crime scene floor plan? No. It's not going to be the notice board. It's not going to be the Venus firecracker. It's not going to be this. This feels stupid, but I'm gonna try this.
Take that!
We're making the evidence weep here, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I like how the music stopped. Sorry? Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment.
Never mind the evidence, you're about to make me weep, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh no, I can't upset Susato-san or I'll end up being upset too. You know, a member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first-class cabins nearly all the time. So as long as the guard was there, it would have been impossible to fire a shot without it being heard. That very much narrows down when the crime could have been committed. Okay. What proof do you have that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement? So it's got to involve a murder weapon, right? Maybe just the revolver?
Take that!
Nope, it's not that. Not that. Restart. You saw nothing.
Take that!
This. Nope, Redux.
Take
This.
that!
Final mix. Oh, I'm having too much fun with this. Okay. Shit. Okay. Okay. I've already presented the revolver. Wait, did I present the revolver? No, I must have. I must have. It wasn't the autopsy report. It's not going to be any of these. Shit.
Huh. Yeah, I am kind of at a loss here, not gonna lie, Chief. You know what? Maybe I should just skip until I actually find it. I'm just wasting a lot of time of this record.
I know I'm making the evidence weep. It's not my fault that the evidence is a crybaby a little bit. I'm just about to practice evacuation. I don't know, maybe this?
Take that!
Oh shit, it worked.
This itinerary for crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord. This is conclusive proof. An itinerary, how does that prove anything?
Hell if I know. Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman's sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely. Because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime scene must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this: when the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Ugh.
Now, clearly the murder could have only been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time.
Oh!
But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings,
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town, and returned to England the following morning.
which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof. Get ready. Here it comes, guys. That Kazuma Soge couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
Grr!
Do 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 do.
No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to come back and finish the...
No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book.
All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof.
Ugh, no,
There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer, as a common man.
Ugh.
You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room in Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder had happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it? Seishiro Jigoku.
It was that damn trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began.
Oh shit.
Looking back on how my fate was decided that day, I was doomed already.
Bro?
It's over. My life is over.
Bro, you good? Bitch, you kinda destroyed the witness stand.
A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain.
Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands.
The assassin exchange requests arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. That was hardly a request, it was a demand.
Well, clearly we're not going to be continuing this freaking trial, considering he broke the damn witness stand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. Wait, I just realized, didn't they say that he broke the witness stand in the trial 10 years ago? Did history just repeat itself on that?
But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin.
Oh. Oh wait, who's speaking? Is this Ryunosuke still? But things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place.
And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that.
The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume.
That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain, so I enlisted the help of my British counterpart, and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper.
What? The Reaper? But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself. Ah! So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper. Whoever that is.
I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France. And his own death.
Oh, how awful.
It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time waiting.
For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock.
I'd intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came around and went for me in a reckless move. I'd received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student. I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that.
So the revolver belongs to you, does it? Then the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule.
Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon, in order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification.
Ah,
I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph of you at the hotel then.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case. So I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
I only arrived at the room at around 4:45. So I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips.
Ah! I didn't notice it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish.
Dang. So you're telling me the fish and chips were your undoing?
Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did.
How's this trial gonna end? Aren't we probably gonna have to find the British counterpart? Damn.
I've heard enough. We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors. The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea. Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who is the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? Like, he's gonna say that outright. He might give a slight hint, but... nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again.
What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson.
How dare he kill me? Oh wait, wrong last name. Shwoom. Wait, shouldn't those go to not guilty?
Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found.
Oh, so he's found guilty.
And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court.
Damn. That's crazy.
Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson, and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, thank you.
Is something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey and this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries, however. Insofar of the indictment brought against the defendants in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant Barrick von Zeeks.
Objection!
What? Bitch, what are you doing? Oh, right, he's salty as hell. The prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred. Counsel. The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
What? But Judge Shigoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barrick von Zeeks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Bitch, you are just salty as hell.
Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asogi.
Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot. Into the sick, merciless assassin exchange. That may be true, but... So what I want to know is who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in position to give such an order. As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barrick von Zeeks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt. What? Order. The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build the case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Von Zeeks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances may have changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself. Which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. I freaking love Von Zeeks. What a legend. I have very much turned around on him from this case alone. I mean, I was already calling him extremely based before, but like, I don't know, he just keeps going higher and higher. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Von Zeeks. and I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes. Ugh. That explains Cosmo's silence before. He'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Von Zeeks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
Very well. Whilst it's extremely irregular, I will on this occasion grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has with the Reaper and the Assassin Exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing. Next time on Great Ace Attorney Chronicles.
Adios, ciao, and bye-bye. Signing off until next time. Ja, matane.